Third person co-op shooter of the year. I'm calling it already. But honestly, this is the most fun I've had in a minute playing a new release. And that's saying a lot. You've been here, you know what's going on. Helldivers 2, released on February 8th and developed by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. This sequel comes 9 years after its predecessor in 2015 and is available to play on PlayStation and PC, respectively. If you're not familiar with the series, the best way to describe it, Starship Troopers personified. And if you haven't seen Starship Troopers, what are you doing with your life? Like, hello? Like, I typically don't do required homework for games, but just get into that if you haven't. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to Starship Troopers, just yeah, do that and then play this. Because yes, please. But getting right into the highlights, chaotic gameplay, explosions everywhere. Because why not? It's just fun to blow stuff up. And in this case, some stratagems are more useful than others, but with the right combinations and communication, you can make very easy work of some of these missions. And of course, teamwork makes the dream work, not to be cliche, but honestly, it's a co op. Act like it. Unless you're playing solo, which I'll get to in a little bit. The cooperative looting system, man, just relax yourselves because the way some of you play is just selfish. I mean, shout out to you being level 30 and not knowing how to complete a field mission. But yeah, true story, by the way. It's time for story time. I had a game where some guy was upset that a teammate stole his samples, allegedly. Even me, Mute G, had to unmic and let him know you got to relax because everything goes into the same pot. Pretty sure you can guess what happened next. No? Have you not played games before with other people that you don't know online? He was a griefer and attempted to TK. Team kill for people that don't know. But quick draw G, I kicked them out right on time because ain't no way. Ain't no way. It's so predictable when you play with certain people. Sometimes it's just like completely an off guard moment, but all laughs, honestly, because end of the day, it's a game. I'm always gonna put my fun before taking it too serious because I swear, what is really going on with some people? I can only imagine the stories that some of you have if you were brave enough to bear co-op land and play with pubs. Because it's a dice roll, you never know, but hey. Also, key fact, pay attention to the UI. Read your briefing, the mission orders, and the effects. They're not there for no reason. They're not just pretty to look at. Like I get some people really have tunnel vision when it comes to these games, and for the most part, the UI is quite clean and clear, and it's not lengthy. So just do your due diligence. And it's just, do I want to give that away? Well, that's not really a giveaway, but honestly, those aspects in regard to the briefing, mission orders, and effects that has to deal with what you're doing. So I don't understand why you wouldn't glance at them. Obviously, the game's gonna get repetitive to the point where you know what you're heading into, or you can just, "Oh, yeah, this is what we're doing." Cool, but yeah, we'll just say scrambler, and Imma leave it at that. That way, there's completely no spoilers. We're just gonna let you figure that one out. And in another instance, people killing a teammate in order to steal their gear? Like, why not just ask? I swear, these hoes don't got no manners. Like, how are you just team killing people, not only for the samples, which are shared, hello, but for their gear? Just ask if it's something that they can spawn for you real quick. 9 times out of 10, well, this is just me in continuity, like my behavior. Even if I die, I'm going to go back to my point, even if somebody else did pick up my samples, just for the sake of me picking up. a piece of hardware that I may need to continue the game. If it's too far, forget it. But if it's like something I can go collect real quick without putting my team in jeopardy, yeah, see me looking out for the squad. I'm gonna do that and then go get it, so that way I don't have to use another stratagem in order to release that piece of equipment. But if you are curious, you want to try a freaking jetpack, hey, can I get a jetpack? Or if you see a person struggling, just drop one. Here's a drone for you because you need some help, and then just mark it. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You would think the benefit of shared looting would ideally promote teamwork, essentially. For example, having the heavy class team member pick up and carry all of the samples. Less chance of them, leaving them behind because they are least likely to go down after less armored teammates are constantly dying around you. I mean, on the other hand, I realize people tend to care about leveling up and not strategizing for the team's sake, but I digress. It's exciting. I get it. Not saying there's a right or wrong way to play, but with the lack of games in this class specifically, it's funny to play with pups to experience even more chaos. So I recommend doing it. You're gonna meet some cool people. You're gonna meet some bums. You're gonna meet some hoes, but it's that's all about gaming. Live service that isn't in your face, annoyingly, I can say I'm thoroughly pleased with my ROI for this game. Best money I've spent in a long time in gaming. And I don't even think that needs an explanation. Like that right there within itself is heavy enough to just let me just let that breathe for a second. Now for the lowlights, because there are several of them. Not really. I'm just joking. I'm being dramatic. So first and foremost, shout out to the devs for being proactive because a lot of what I would consider complaints, they've been fixed for the most part. Sprinkle, sprinkle here and there, but I always have to acknowledge hard work and dedication, especially during a launch. That is impressive with the way they turned around these patches and fixes and even server capacity expansions. It's been a time, but shout out to them for sure. My biggest complaint was gonna be not being able to play because of the lurkers that would idle their games rather than shutting down to stay online. So, in other words, one of the downsides of online play, but that's been fixed. They underestimated their own success. Not being able to play because servers were at capacity is a testament of why this game will be a great example of what the industry needs right now. I can't even front. While matchmaking was broken, I still had a time playing solo when I was able to get in. Like I told you, I like chaos. So this is when I couldn't find any quick game to join, and people couldn't join my game unless we were friends, of course. But it was so fun. I feel like solo play, of course, is always more so focused play, so it gives you time to actually sit down with yourself in the game, learning it, and pretty much pushing yourself to see how far you can go solo. Not ideal for some, but I still had fun. It's cool. Another bug I'm experiencing is the random hanging load screen. All it takes is a restart. In this instance, this is when you are loading into the game for the first time as a team. So let's say you picked your stratagems and everything, your boost, and then you're loading. You see the launch of your pod, and you're just like, my hell pod's stuck on the screen. And you're like, okay, cool. Maybe it'll take like 2 minutes. And then it's just sitting there. In some instances, yes, it'll shake and wake up, but other times it's just like, okay, let's just restart. Cause honestly, yeah, I'd be more upset if I was running into the crash issue when evacuating. Oh, another funny story because stuff like this always happens to me because, hello, it's me. So, upon evacuating with a nice collection of samples and whatnot, we had a brownout in my area. And mind you, It wasn't even long. It was literally like a flash. I'm just like, "Yo, this is so disrespectful." I'm like, "The robots are literally getting me back for that damn stratagem I dropped at the last minute." Like, there's no way that the timing of the power just going bloop bloop and then me not getting back to the ship and it's fine. It's okay. I promise I'm not holding a grudge, but I found that funny because 'cause I'm just like, what are the odds of this happening in this moment at that time and not during the match when I had, full capability and range to join back in without losing my stuff, but it's cool. It's whatever. Shout out to whatever new house was getting built because they decided to switch the load for a second and thought nobody would notice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Another random bug is getting stuck in the map. This always happens to me with every game. I love breaking games like this, not on purpose. Sometimes it just happens, but when I say getting stuck, my character will literally just be stuck in a position. And a random way to fix this that has worked every time is to get one of your teammates to come melee you. Sounds goofy, but yeah, camaraderie. Just type it in the chat, say it in the mic, "Hey, can you come melee me real quick? I'm stuck." And typically people will comply. You playing with friends, you already know what it is. But that's the only fix I've found for that. And then essentially you'll you won't luckily you won't fall through the map and break the game itself. You'll kind of recalibrate yourself and go about your business playing. Well, this isn't really a low light. This is just based on the game and games that have been like this in the past. There is no PvP in the future because the dev said, "Y'all toxic," and I don't blame them. From the scenarios I've given so far, there's so much. I mean, but in the end, it's not a PvP game, so this isn't a complete letdown for me, just means they can focus on pushing other aspects of the game and give us more content and features that we need for missions. And finally, no reputation system. Because friendly fire isn't so friendly after all, is it? Among other things, but honestly, I feel like it would help democracy. Although the social menu is quite effective with blocking, I like when people are held accountable for being goofies in a game and intentionally try to ruin the experience for everyone. I mean, that's just my wish list item. On the rare hopes Arrowhead is listening, a system with rep-based matching for habitual offenders, yes, place them together in games, just like the first game. I know, pie in the sky, but I want my vengeance. But I'll block you and I'll just keep it moving. Games like this are the riskiest dice roll to play, like I mentioned before. In a squad full of pups, you never know. But you may run into some cool people. All of my other gripes, in general, they're pretty much player based, but it isn't enough for me to rage and just put the game down. I just honestly focus on the missions, mute if you're doing too much, and evac. To be blocked, you really, really have to violate. And now for the rating. What do I rate Helldivers to? Electric Boogaloo. No dramatic effect or delay needed. I am rating this game a 4.5 out of 5. Largely, a lot of recent co-ops have come and gone, but I see the potential in Helldivers too, as far as replayability. It certainly fills that void for me that I've been mentioning when it comes to multiplayer games of today. I could even push that notion to games of today. This is honestly the most fun I've had playing a co-op since Left 4 Dead. And you know how I feel about Valve. There will never be another. But if you were lucky enough to be a part of that community, you understand exactly what I mean. Shout out to the squad. That was a dope time. 10 out of 10 would recommend. If you're looking to play with friends or even solo at times, buy it. If you're concerned about skins and content, stick to Call of Duty and Fortnites that you're used to. Wait until the mech suits drop. And we get vehicles, bruh. Like, oh my gosh. I am curious to hear your experiences. because it has been a time for me. I can imagine how it's been to you all. Be sure to connect with us via Spotify poll and Q&A sections, leaving your thoughts about Helldivers 2 if you've played it or are planning to play it. You can also do this on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or verbalvibemode.com. Feel free to leave a voicemail. All links are in the description box. Peace.